What's up, everyone? I hope you all are having a wonderful and blessed day today. And if not, I do pray and hope that it gets better. I would like to say thank you for stopping by the channel and checking out today's video. It means a lot to me and I do appreciate it. Now, if you're enjoying the content that you're seeing here and you wouldn't mind continuing to help support not only me, but the channel as well, please make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. And also hit that bell icon so you can stay updated on all of my future content. Today, oh boy, oh boy, we have a special video for you all. I want to give a thanks and a shout out to 2K and Fire Access Games for providing me with a copy of Midnight Suns to check out due to me being in the Nextmaker's program and such. Now, the first half of this video will be a spoiler-free video of my impressions on my time with the game. And the second half will be me answering as many of your questions as possible. I put the word out a few days ago asking you guys to send in questions for me to answer about the game. That's pretty much it is what it is. The deadline, actually, I didn't even post the deadline. So whatever question is up there now is more than likely gonna get answered. Some of them. But as of right now, right, I believe I'm around 50 hours into the game. And I literally only just started Act 2. If I'm being honest, I'm more than likely playing it while you're watching this video right now. First time I booted up the game, I played this joint for 17 hours straight. Y'all might think I'm lying, but I'm serious. 17 hours straight. Around hours 4 to 5. I'm not gonna lie, I passed out a little bit for a little bit, but I woke back up and I got right back to playing. Thankfully though, I took a shower before that little gameplay session starts, so I was not sitting in my chair thinking for 17 hours. So, oh boy, nah, that would have been unbearable. But I've been having a hell of a time with this game, and I honestly might be addicted. So while y'all watching this video, I'm gonna be behind the scenes getting my fix. So I'm gonna let y'all talk to the past tense version of King Greek right now. All right, what's up, everybody? So we finna go ahead and start right off the bat with gameplay. So the combat has been pretty fun, right? It's flashy. The animations look great. Choosing to make this combat as flashy as possible was a good move, just simply because of the kind of characters that are here, right? Superheroes are flashy in general, so it makes sense. Now, with turn-based games, one main issue that people usually tend to have is that it can be too slow. That's not the case here, kind of. Let me explain. So there's no time clock on your turns, right? You can take as much time as you want figuring out exactly what it is you want to do. And besides funny comments from characters about you taking too long to make a choice, it really affects nothing else about the gameplay. You are able to set your own pace, which I feel like is great for the players who take a bit more time picking up on things. Now, once you get the hang of it, or even if you're an experienced player, right? Midnight Suns can easily be fast paced. All it will take is a minute or less for you to set up something and pull off something and then end your turn. The game will move as fast as you allow yourself to. And I feel like that's a great thing because there's a lot of newcomers that are going to be checking out the game. And this feature definitely helps to ease in more players into the process of everything instead of just like giving you a brief tutorial or just tossing you into the fire and no tutorial at all. Now, it can be easy just as it can be challenging, seeing as how the game has 8 different difficulties, which are story, normal, heroic 1, 2, and 3, and ultimate 1, 2, and 3. There's a difficulty level that everyone can play on and enjoy the game at their own pace. The game does a great job at not really holding your hand, but more so helping you guide your way through the many systems that are in this game in order to ensure you understand, you know, every basic thing that's going on and that you won't be left in the dark wondering on what to do. Now, the games honestly change. No, not the game, sorry. The cards honestly change nothing of my enjoyment with the game. I've been preaching for the longest time that the cards are not the enemy here. After playing it, I can say it's one of the best choices they could have made for the game. And other turn-based games, you know exactly what you can do each turn before anything happens, so that kind of begins to add a sense of staleness in terms of gameplay encounters, because essentially nothing is changing, right? But the card system does tackle that very issue. In Midnight Suns, enemies will always telegraph who or what they're going to attack before your turn is over. That's excluding effects like Frenzy, where enemies can attack you during your turn, and other like different modifiers where enemies will not signal at all who they're going to hit in general. It's random. But you, on the other hand, have a different setup. Having to draw a number of cards each turn and figuring out what to do from there, in my personal opinion, has been a much better system than just selecting from a set of pre-made options. And it's not even because I like card games, but it's simply just from the factor of randomness that it adds on, right? Different fights playing out the same way is not an issue or a concern here, because all the enemies react differently, not only to what they do and what their combats do, but to what you do as well. I played a side mission where Crossbones invaded my game after the very first turn. I was only one turn in, and this man showed up out of nowhere. It looked like looking to wreck everything. I had to replay that mission a few times because getting all of the loot chest out of that mission and surviving Crossbones at the same time on the difficulty that I was playing on was not an option. I could not do both. I had to pick one or the other. There's also no warning either for when or how these supervillains will invade a mission. It could be after the very first turn. It could be halfway through. You can be at the tail end of a mission. All your heroes on low on health and injured, but you got one turn left before you can win, and then boom, Venom shows up out of nowhere and just immediately gives you a whole new objective. So now, in order to leave and go home so you can get back to the Abbey, you gotta run his fade. He literally let the goons do all the work the entire mission to soften you up, and now he's literally just coming to pick up lunch on his work break from Lilith. That's what that is. The cleanest run I had on that mission with Crossbones, it came down to him and Mike Hunter facing off. It was the only them two left in the field, and we both had 20 HP left. I had only 2 cards left in my hand because I took a couple crippling shots from the goons that just wiped out everything that I had left. Now, before that, in the run before that, my Hunter got taken out early because she got focused for some weird reason and nobody wanted to touch Ghost Rider. My Hunter and Iron Man got blitzed right out the gate, but I was still having a great time trying to figure out what to do. I had fun, and that's really the beauty of it all, right? It's not necessarily just the card system, but it's everything that went into the structured randomness filled gameplay that's very apparent in Midnight Suns. Going back to what I said earlier about staleness in games like this, because you can spam and cheese your way through to the same ending every time, fights going down in the same way. I could play a mission in this game 10 times and it ends a different way each time. And trust me, I can say that now and back it up since I've played it and that's happened. Finishing up on the cards, right? The amount of variety in this game with the abilities are wild because you have the character's overall stats, which you can increase through various things. You have the combat bonuses that you can gain from various things like messing around in the Abbey. Like Ghost Rider can gain a combat bonus to start the next mission with 6 heroes from the jump, or Iron Man gets to start the next mission with 4 extra redraws. You have the item cards, which you can craft using essence material in the forge over at the item bench, or you can cook them in Agatha's cauldron by collecting ingredients like chicken mushrooms and Regent from around the Abbey grounds. You can go ahead, go to the library and get your Gordon Ramsay on, make some cards, some items, some skill lessons, whatever it is you need to get done, right? And that all goes right back to obtaining cards from gamma coils, using ability crafting to create copies of the cards as upgrade material, because you need 2 non-upgraded versions of a card to combine it. If you got a rare card, make a copy of that rare card, use it, boom, get you a better card with a new effect. Blueprint crafting is also important because you need the right rarity blueprint in order to make card copies in the first place. And I'm not even gonna get into some of the things like being able to reroll mods on cards. It's a lot. It's a lot. I just said a lot of words. Some of y'all might not understand it, but it's a lot. I promise you, some of the systems in this game are deeper than what the developers have been telling us. They've been playing coy about this whole thing, right? And I feel like that's a good thing, because it's another reason to speak on the game's replayability and life post-launch. The content is here for everyone. Content creators, especially if you're thinking about becoming a creator for the game, or if you're thinking about covering it, if you're already one. I say go ahead and do it, because the content is here. You will have some serious solid work on your hands, and I mean that in a good way. Now, the fights do take place in enclosed areas, but while I can say that I was starting to lean more towards the aspect of initially having bigger areas, after having played it, choosing to do it this way worked out pretty well. There's so much you can do in terms of controlling the battlefield. It's not necessarily just attacks at your disposal, it's everything. It's all within reach. It's not gonna be a mad dash fighting your enemies across a city block within 4 turns trying to race your way to an objective. The characters all feel great, right? No one really feels like an echo of one another. Each character has their own perks that they bring to the fight, and they are all fun to play. For my first playthrough, my main roster so far has been Iron Man, Captain Marvel, Nico Minoru, and Ghost Rider. There's one character, I'm not gonna lie, I've kind of been thinking about swapping out Captain Marvel for. It's not who you think. But no, swapping out Captain Marvel has definitely been on my mind after getting to where I currently am now. After playing Ghost Rider, I can honestly say that Ghost Rider is amazing. He's definitely somebody that you have to be careful with, because various moves can damage himself, his teammates, or even discard your hand. But if played right, the man is a very self-sustainable and solidified demon. The combat, I would definitely say, is one of the major highlights for me in terms of the game, right? Because I really have no issues. But I mean, I'm gonna get into that stuff later. But on a surface level, I really don't have any issues with the combat at all whatsoever. I've been enjoying it very, very thoroughly. Now we're gonna go and talk more about the Abbey and the Abbey grounds, right? We're gonna move on to the other side of the coin for this game, which is that, and even the characters as well, because they're also an important part. Now, the way that the game has been advertised, right? The Abbey has always been just as important as the combat. It's literally 2 sides of a coin because of everything that takes place and everything that you can do and everything that happens, right? Now, just starting off with the building itself, let's start off in where you're going to be staying. The Abbey is a very fun place. It's spooky. The architecture is great. Soundtrack is pretty nice. It has some very ambient music that you will listen to on a late night, just chilling out, walking through the woods, having a good time. It's a vibe for sure. You might or might not hear a random werewolf. Yeah, black people don't do werewolves. Black people don't do werewolves, but you might hear a werewolf or two and some other things out there in the woods, but the music do make you feel a little bit better. Now, it's definitely one of the better hub worlds / home bases that I've seen in some video games recently. There's a lot to do. I would say in almost every sense of the word. You have various things such as projects which are meant to upgrade the Abbey. You got the forge, the training yard, the library, the war room, all of these which can be outfitted with a variety of upgrades. Like, for example, there's a research project that allows you to craft a book of Ashanti. So the book of Ashanti will actually be sitting there in the forge next to Strange. It's pretty cool. It's a gold book, looks very great. You can build a high-tech another research option. You can build a high-tech global communication center in the war room that will show you various places around the world like Wakanda, and let you pick operations to send your heroes on and collect rewards and interact with the bigger Marvel universe and whatnot. And then there's a lot of people and things that are established in this universe. You'll see what I mean when you get to play. Now, and then you also have the living aspect of everything. Like, there's the gift shop where you are able to buy various different gifts like candles or music boxes or even comics to give to your fellow heroes in order to increase the friendship level with them further. You can join different clubs. Like, I believe I'm currently in a shop class with Robbie and Peter, who over the course of the game ends up becoming one of the main friendships I did not expect to see at all, but I'm pretty happy to see. Peter works on his web gadgets, and Robbie pretty much works on his car, and then they work on some things together. I'm in a book club with Blade and both captains, Marvel and America, and then some more stuff in the background that I don't think I can mention. Getting a little bit personal, right? You can decorate your room with all types of things like fireplaces and chandeliers and paintings. A lot of paintings. Like, I got a whole pitcher of water and a cheese plate with some bread next to my bed. Like, a whole cheese plate. is fancy the word? I don't know if fancy is the word. I wanna say there. It ain't often you go somewhere and you got like a little cheese plate with some grapes and some bread that's sitting like right next to your bread. I feel like that's somewhere you gotta go. You pay for that. They fresh, like right fresh out the garden. I'm getting off topic. You can also decorate some of the other heroes' rooms to a certain extent, and there are also fun Easter eggs literally everywhere. Not only just inside the Abbey, but on the grounds as well. Like there's Ebony, which is Agatha's cat. There's two pets in the game. Charlie, she will always be around the Abbey. She will never really be that hard to find. Also, make sure the pet Abby, but not Abby, make sure to pet Charlie every single day because you do get rewards for petting her. But she also proceeds to level up and her abilities will upgrade as well because Charlie, you can summon her into combat for your trials and stuff. Ebony, which is Agatha's cat, Ebony is harder to find. You won't find Ebony unless she wants to be found. Like you just randomly walk into an area, you'll hear a cat meow, and Ebony is right there. And Ebony moves all around the grounds. So she's never in the same place. Like it's sometimes it's easy to find her, sometimes it's kind of hard. I don't know why that's like a general thing with cats. I know Gotham Knights has that too. I forget what they named their cat, but that cat moves all around the belfry, and it's in a different place every time. It's hard to find them. I don't know why they do that with cat. I've never had a cat. That could just be a random thing. I'm getting on topic again. Captain Marvel has a picture of Jessica Drew, aka Spider-Woman, next to her bedside. Wanda has a picture of her brother Pietro in the room. God, I wish Quicksilver was in this game. Nico has a picture of the Runaways in her room with Alex's face scratched out. If you know the history there, then you know why Alex's face is scratched out. There was clearly a lot of thought and detail that went into making that Abbey feel more like a legitimate home for everyone instead of it just being like a simple home base or a secret headquarters, right? The Abbey truly feels like a home. The heroes, they live together, fight together, they cook together, they argue with one another, they argue a lot. Seeing the various different kinds of dynamics in play and watching personalities clash in that environment has been an extremely fun thing to see. And that's just inside of the Abbey as a whole. Once you get to the grounds, that's a whole completely different topic because the grounds surrounding the Abbey is much bigger than a lot of people would have initially expected. I have, again, around 50 hours of gameplay. At least 15 of those could be contributed to me messing around outside of the Abbey, exploring the area, finding collectibles, unlocking new paths, getting new rewards, learning more about the lore of the game, going from present day all the way back to before the Salem witch trial started. The amount of care that they put into building this world, it shows, right? The amount of care that they put into building this world, it all shows. Love it or hate it, I can't do anything but show respect for that because I know for certain I definitely could have done that. Trust me when I say this, a good portion of you all will definitely be spending a solid chunk of time in the grounds. Not even just because it's fun to do, but with all of the havens, collecting ingredients, visiting the offering bowl, collecting the tarot cards, and so much more. There's definitely more than enough incentive to actually keep you going back out into the grounds for various things. They created a gameplay loop that's actually rewarding for the player, and in my book, that's a good sign. Now, moving over to more about the story and the lore, it's been pretty great so far, right? There's been a few clear examples of the dialogue kind of being campy, but it's been pretty solid. Seeing these various characters reflect not only over their growing relationships with the hunter, but their relationships with each other and the overarching story as well. You see certain characters who act like normal people would in these kind of events. It's not the usual. These characters have become, so hardened and instilled as superheroes. There's nothing that can really phase them, and they make the right choice every time, even if it's the hardest choice. It's always the right judgment call. Nah, that ain't the case. That is not the case. Mistakes are definitely made, minor and major. Depression, resentment, overprotectiveness, guilt, these characters are pretty much open season for the entire emotional spectrum. The VAs also did a wonderful job in their roles. Granted, it's not like God of War graphics where you can see Kratos' expression speak 1,000 words, but the dialogue definitely has a strong point, some of it because it's deep. The characters all feel how they're supposed to. Spidey never stops talking and is still willing to put his life on the line to save others who would rather kill him the first chance they get. Captain America is yet again a fish out of water, being extremely confused because he's never faced anything like Lilith before, but if there's one thing that he isn't, it's a stranger to war, so he's going to do what he does best, which is improvise, adapt, and overcome. Strange's story arc by far is one of the best story arcs in the game to me, right? Without spoiling anything, because I legit can't talk about anything related to his story arc without spoiling something. Strange is having the worst kind of an identity crisis that you could possibly have, and you will get to watch him try and come to terms with what could possibly become a new normal for him. Like Strange, I don't think this might be the first, because like I read comics, I see the movies, I watch the cartoons. I think this might be the first time I've ever genuinely felt this bad for Strange. Like, I feel more bad for Strange than I think I've ever felt for any other supernatural character in recent memory. It's wild. It's wild. Now, all of these characters are represented well, and they all fit into the main story in their own ways. They pretty much come to earn their spot in the story arc that is Midnight Suns. The side stories are pretty nice as well, watching Robbie and Peter form an unlikely friendship and begin to work together more. In my opinion, some of you might agree once you get to play, they are what Strange and Tony could be if they didn't debate and argue every 5 minutes, and I'm serious about that. Less arguing and more admiration and consideration for one another. Blade even has a storyline where he's on a mission to get closer to Captain Marvel. He will deny it at first, and I think it's incredibly funny because I was not expecting Captain Marvel to be his type, but that's a storyline that definitely develops over time, and you get to kind of help push that narrative, so that's fun. There's a major side story involving Wanda and Agatha before, Wanda left the Midnight Suns. And in that storyline, you get to learn more about them and what happened leading up to Agatha's death and Wanda being sent away to train with Doctor Strange, which all takes place before the start of the game. The overall lore is great too. Oh my god, they dug in deep. I was not expecting them to go this hard. They dug in deep with the Marvel Universe. We got Panther, we got Thanos, Doctor Doom, Fin Fang Foom, Mandarin, Galactus, Super Surfer, Fantastic Four, The Watcher, Civil War 1 and 2, Battle World, Bully Maguire. They are paying respect to the whole of the Marvel Universe, main and extended, comics and MCU, taking what's already established and throwing in some of their own fun events, right? Some of these things you can learn more about, like something you can hear about in past conversation, for example, is about a situation where Tony and Carol once had to watch the Super Bowl from across the solar system because the Kree would have spoiled the game for him. So Tony pretty much had to bootleg a signal going all the way back to Earth. I don't have any issues with the story so far. Like at this point, I haven't beat the game, but I'm very excited to get back into the game and experience more of these main and side storylines. Now we're gonna be getting into the part of the video that I'm pretty sure a lot of you have been waiting for, and that's the bugs and annoyances and things I dislike. I've had a lot of positives about this game, but there are some negatives. I won't lie to you. I'm not gonna sit here and be biased. I'm not gonna praise. I mean, I'll praise the game to the high heavens, like if it's great and I'll enjoy it. But like nothing is perfect. Everything has its issues. Everybody feels how they want to feel, and I definitely feel the way I feel about some stuff. One of the biggest annoyances issues that I've had so far, I would say, has been performance. Now, this could either be on my end or on the game's end, but I do have a decent PC, and I was running the game on its lowest setting. in combat, there are noticeable skips and pauses. You might have even seen some in this video by now that messes with the gameplay immersion. Even more so with characters like Captain Marvel and Ghost Rider. Some of their big attacks like Photon Beam would send my game into a standstill. Sometimes the audio would go out too. Sometimes it wouldn't, but I would be stuck on that still image until the game unfroze, which is annoying. It also happens back at the Abbey as well. I think the worst instance I've had of that happening was back in the Abbey, but it's more frequent inside of combat. However, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Another is this weird audio bug that happens only when I boot up the game. I gotta take my headset out and pop it back in because it sounds like everyone is speaking in an amphitheater 100 yards away from me. Is weird. It's definitely not on my end. That I did check. There's some more issues like items not really responding to my interactions, bugs in gameplay that will carry over into cutscenes. Like if you use conceal on a hero and conceal is still there, when the mission ends, it will carry over into the cutscene and it kind of looks like you're staring at a ghost. A lot of my issues so far have mainly been with bugs and performance issues. There's maybe 1 to 2 main issues I don't believe I'm allowed to talk about yet because that's spoiler territory, but the issues are there for sure. One thing I've made my dislike known about for a while are some character models and cutscenes. There are some cutscenes that didn't look fully rendered. Character models as well, right? Like some characters would speak and their mouths would only move an inch, and it did not look like it was on the same track as the words. It's not in every cutscene, but it is apparent. I don't like Spider-Man's character model, to be exact, Peter Parker's character model, because he looks too much like a polished, unfinished Ken doll, and oh my god, that does not sit right for me. People like Nico and Captain Marvel look great. Iron Man is right in the middle, but I mean that's really how I feel about the models. Like again, some are great, some are bad. Spider-Man probably has the worst one. It is what it is. One last thing, and I gotta word this right. There are some things in the Abbey and Abbey grounds that do not do a great job at explaining things. Now, I did say earlier that they do make sure to give you a guiding hand in the first hours of gameplay so you can understand all of the basic stuff, right? And not be lost. But there are some things out there in the grounds that you can find and start messing with out of nowhere. And I understand the point is to explore and uncover things, but little to no direction on what's going on can definitely hurt. I can 100% see a good chunk of people getting confused at these things at first glance. Everything I figured out came from me going back in my memory and trying to see if anything matched with what was currently sitting in front of me, and then trying every option I had on the table. And it took a minute because I had no general idea of what to do or how to start. So I can see this being an issue for other players, most definitely. Now, this is all based off my experience with the game, right? There are some negatives, some strong negatives for me, but the positives do outweigh the negatives in this case. I have my issues with the game, of course, but I also had more fun than I thought I would. The gameplay loop between the Abbey and combat has been pretty addicting. The story so far has been solid in my opinion, as well as character representation. The deeper layers and mechanics of this game is making you want to dig in more. Because Jesus, everything that we've seen so far is like literally just surface level stuff. It's insane. There's so much to this game. Like, it's a beefy experience, and that's not even taking into account the post-launch content. There's a lot of content here. Again, not just for other creators, but players in general. And I do feel like once people can get their hands on the game, especially people who are iffy about the card system, their reception of the game will grow to be much better. Good or bad, I can really do nothing but have respect for a developer team that has very clearly been showing how much they truly care about their game, going the extra mile in order to get stuff done and get their name and their game out there. Now that we've gotten all of the heavy lifting out of the way, like I've gotten across all of my points, everything it was that I wanted to talk about, now we can talk about your stuff. So we're going to go ahead and get into the questions. Now, I posted questions on both YouTube and Twitter. We're going to be starting with Twitter first because I think there's only 2 questions there. I only got 2 questions there. The vast majority came over on YouTube. The first question that we have here is from Babe Bro. Will I be able to keep up with the time limit for dropping an attack? Or is it super fast paced? So there is no time limit. You can take as much time as you want in terms of figuring out exactly what it is you want to do. And the game will be as fast paced as you allow yourself to be. I mentioned this earlier in the video. So once you really get accustomed to everything it is that you want to do, once you know what you're doing, moves and actions will be flying off top of your head quick, and that will further translate into gameplay. Next question is from Life of Dreads. Do you think this game will be user friendly for those who love Marvel and want to play but have no idea about card based systems? Yes, absolutely, very much so. The tutorials in this game, like I said, it's not the type of hand holding where like they watch over and restrict every little thing you do just to make sure you understand everything down to its exact principle. No, it's nothing like that. They tell you the basis of what something is. They give you the information that you need to know, and then will let you make decisions while still informing you, like what does work, how does this work. They give you more of a guiding push than a helping hand, right? So also the tutorials are available in the options menu for anybody to go and look at anytime they need to refresh up on something. So I would definitely say for new players coming in, this game definitely will be friendly towards you, especially if you're playing on normal or story difficulty. And normal is the default difficulty, if I'm correct. Now we're gonna go jump over to YouTube, and we're gonna be looking at the community post first, and then we're gonna be moving over to the video questions. So the first question is from Eric. Sorry. How interesting are the character reactions? Do they feel tacked onto the main story, or integrate well and are meaningful? I would say some of them, yes. Right? Like the character interactions definitely mean a lot inside of the Abbey, but then you also will have instances where, based off how these characters are currently feeling right now in your game, that could also translate over into gameplay as well. So like I mentioned something earlier about Blade, kind of having a thing for Captain Marvel in this game, and one of his little side storylines revolves around him trying to get closer to Captain Marvel. So you will occasionally hear him make, comments praising Carol in combat, and he will just immediately play it off like he didn't hear it, and the hunter will kind of tease him a little bit because he's still like denying his feelings. But I would definitely say that they are interesting. They definitely are interesting. They don't affect the main story. Some of them do, but in the way that they're supposed to. Everything else, however, is pretty much just side stuff, but it all evens itself out pretty well. Next is from Nation of Gamnation. Okay, wow, you posted 3 questions here. Jesus Christ. Okay. So is the final hero OP since you don't seemingly unlock him or her until beating story? No comment. Any cards from any of the heroes that we don't know about that changes your initial opinion of them compared to any deep dives? I'm not gonna go into detail, but yes. All right, number 3. Are there any post story content, or will you have to go into New Game Plus? Can you keep playing after you beat the story? No comment to the first half of that question, but yes, you can keep playing after you beat the story. Next up is from a Kirkland 24. Okay. How well does the game run? What kind of bugs or performance issues have you run into? How would you rate the graphics? Other than that, I'm sold on the gameplay. I can't wait to get my hands on it. Well, if you were paying attention, we had a whole section dedicated to that. The graphics are, for what this game is, I would say the graphics definitely shine in combat more than they do in the Abbey. They shine very well into combat. I can't really rate the graphics, but it's not a low rating for me. I can tell you that. I can't rate it, but if I did, it wouldn't be a low rating. Next up is from CGTO. So when you get around to the credits of the game, Could I let you know or show you the Japanese cast? I'm interested to see if you'll be getting the official Japanese MCU cast to dub this game. Unfortunately, I cannot. I am sorry. Next up, Ron Credup. I'm ready for the game to launch. Excited to play it. That ain't a question, but I appreciate the enthusiasm, right? Next up, Zach Schultz. Is the game actually like good and fun? I've played XCOM and just about every Marvel game ever, and I was kind of worried about the gameplay. It seems different from what they've done before, but still similar, and that was what I was most worried about. But all in all, I've been hyped for this game since they announced it, and I've been patiently waiting to get my hands on this game. So glad that we're a couple of weeks away. Yes, the game is fun. The game is fun. I'm definitely enjoying myself. I can't wait for you to play it. Hopefully you enjoy it as well. It seems like you're already very excited. Question from Logan Dixon. How does it feel to finally get a game in? Breathtaking. Amazing. I'm gonna give y'all a fat reference real quick. It's like taking the first bite from a cheeseburger, a double cheeseburger, after literally only eating pescatarian food, which is seafood, for like a month straight. It feels like you just bit into a whole new world. It feels great. Sean Banks, next question. Difficulty levels. Is it like XCOM where the main difficulty is in the beginning, or would you say it's more balanced? Is there a new game plus, or should I just up the difficulty from the beginning? So, the main difficulty is normal. That's what you are going to start off with. In terms of it being balanced, again, there are 8 different difficulty levels, so there's definitely a difficulty for everyone to play on. You can't up the difficulty from the beginning. That you cannot do, because the way that the difficulty system works, you have to progress on the current, you have to progress on, how can I put this? So, the way the difficulty system works, right? As you play, the more and more over time, you will begin to unlock different difficulties, right? Higher difficulties. And it's not always about how fast you can beat a mission necessarily. It's more so about how you can beat it. Like, you can, like they even said this in the live stream, you can get a bunch of 2 stars on a mission. You don't have to necessarily get a 3-star. You can get a bunch of 2 stars on a mission, or you can get maybe a bunch of 2 stars and a few 1 stars. You will still get to that next difficulty, but you can't just go straight to Ultimate 3 from the beginning. That is not how that works. It would be cool, but I know me personally, I wouldn't be touching Ultimate 3, especially not right now, because I'm not ready for it. Like, I can't say much, but I ain't ready for it. All right, does it feel, next question, Tom Goldstein. Does it feel repetitive? I saw some videos, I think it was the Venom boss fight, and the fight never ends and reinforcements keep coming. So, well, I would say no. In my opinion, I would say it's not repetitive, and there's a reason for that. So, with the Venom fight, I believe it was specifically explained that because Venom was the objective and he was still alive, enforcements would still continue to like pull into the field. And that's kind of how it is with some of these missions. You have a primary objective. If that objective isn't taken care of, then more and more demons, Hydra enemies, whatever enemies you may be facing will just continue to fill the area and overwhelm you, essentially. But not every mission is like that, so to say. There are some missions where you only have to really deal with maybe 5 turns of enemies or so, and on that 5th turn, you'll find out that there are no more reinforcements coming. So I wouldn't say it's repetitive. It's definitely a way to keep the gameplay going, but every mission is not like that. So to answer that, no, I don't feel like it's repetitive. Next question. The Jedi. Pretty sure I know this, but is it already better? Is it better than Avengers? Does it feel too grindy? I can't answer that part for you. or really anybody else, because I don't know anybody else's experience with Avengers. If I had to compare this right now to how I feel about Avengers, I enjoy it more than that. I definitely enjoy it more than that. I can't really speak for anybody else. But is it better than Avengers? I mean, let's wait until the game officially comes out. Then we'll answer that question. Now, does it feel too grindy? That we can actually touch on. I mean, when you think about it, Midnight Suns is an RPG, right? And RPGs in and out of themselves are usually grindy to like a certain point, some more than others. So I feel like that's the question you would maybe have to ask yourself, right? Because again, it is an RPG. If you play RPGs, could it be too grindy? Could it not be grindy enough? For me, I feel it's like, yeah, no, it's definitely grindy, but not like Future Revolution, in a sense where the grinding aspect, especially at release, was just like it wasn't great. Like you had to do way too much and you was limited in so many areas. And here that's not the case. In Midnight Suns, is like that's not the case. It's grindy in a good way, to put it like that. Next question. Tech Spider, is it worth picking up even if I'm already planning to pick it up? Also, do you think there'll be more DLC? I'm gonna go ahead and skip the DLC portion of that question. But is it worth picking up? I mean, if you're asking me, my personal opinion, I would say yeah, because it's a great game. I enjoy it. At the very least, if you're on the fence about it, I would say pick it up, try it out, see if you like it. Worst case scenario, you out of what, $60-$70, but I'm pretty sure you can just make that back up with a day on the job or selling candy or whatever it is that you do. But the game, the game is worth picking up in my opinion. But at the same time, I'm not really here to tell any of y'all to buy this game. I'm more so just here giving you all reasons for why I'm buying the game and for why I'm picking it up. And if some of y'all just so happen to agree with me, then more the better. But is it worth picking up? Yes. Am I telling you to go out and buy it? No. Skitty Skids, next question. I know you can't share it, but I really want to see the cosmetics. It's in the video. How is the gameplay though? Is it smooth and is it 60 FPS? On PC, I had options for 30 FPS, 60, 120, and then uncapped. The gameplay, when it's like, because I did mention this earlier in the video as well, when it's not having like these little dips and everything, the gameplay is pretty smooth. It plays out well. It's not really clunky or anything, to me at least. Next question, Bandai Kingdom. I should skip this question because not only is it one of a very expected question, but you also commented under both the community post and the video. And I specifically said in the video, if you commented under the post, do not comment under the video. Do not comment the same question. And this man commented the same question. You lucky you've been showing up to my channel. You are lucky that you are lucky that you've been showing up enough for me to remember you. Are there MCU or comic book suits? There are comic book suits. Specifically Iron Man's Bleeding Edge outfit and Spider-Man's symbiote outfit. If there's more, you got to pick up the game and see for yourself. Next question. Travis Hunstable. Why is there no Daredevil, Moon Knight, Punisher, or Elsa Bloodstone? Any of those would have been better than Deadpool. So is there any reason they didn't make it? I don't know. You tell me. I can't answer that question. I'm not on the developer team. I don't make them decisions, homeboy. Yeah, I can't answer that. Next question. Trey, I'm not pronouncing the whole name. I'm gonna just call you Treyano. Do characters and cutscenes and character models look a little better than last demo? Some of them do. Yes, some of them do. Some of them actually do. Five Guy Trizzy. how bad is it? Be truthful. The game isn't bad. The game is not bad. It has its issues and various things that I don't like. I've talked about this already in the video, but the game is not bad. The game was not bad at all. Now we're gonna go ahead and move over to the video portion because there's more questions over there, and I believe those are all the questions that are left. So let's go ahead. Let's check that out. Let's see what we got. All right. So first off, Pia, it's very cool that you get to play the game early. You deserve it as one of the only channels that is stuck with covering this game. Aww, that was a very effeminate on. Thank you for the comment. That was very nice of you. Thank you. I appreciate you. A hug from afar. I appreciate you. All right, another question from Logan Dixon. I'm sure characters feel different, but do they feel more or less powerful than each other, at least in the beginning player perspective? So I would say there are definitely some characters that can take more of a hit than others. Like if you're running Nico and you have like other characters on the team and she's like the only support in that game, she's probably gonna, like, if she gets targeted, she's probably gonna go down first, right? Just because there are different, like each of these characters have their own individual stats, so like health pools and damage pools and this and that. But I feel like support characters in here take a bit more damage than other characters, but at the same time that could also just simply be attributed to just any character getting targeted by like 5 or 7 people at once. So all the characters feel great. Some of them are definitely stronger than others, but everyone is pretty much strong from the start. Next question from Logic's Indie. What do I dislike about the gameplay? Anything that throws off your plan that feels unfair. For example, line of sight in XCOM 2 was inconsistent. In that sense, I would say no. I haven't really ran into anything that like kind of felt unfair. I mean, like there are things like, for example, with Ghost Rider, you have to play him right, otherwise he could possibly discard your entire hand. But in terms of like the sightline aspect of that being inconsistent, I would say no, because the way that it works in here, if you choose an ability, if you take an action, that action is going to happen every single time. I think the only place I've seen a percentage on in this game was a percentage on it, like it was a percentage meter on if whether or not somebody would like fall over an edge. That's the only time I've ever seen that. That's in this game. But I don't believe there's currently anything unfair. You know what's unfair though? Venom showing up randomly at the end of my mission. Like I'm just trying to leave and go back to the Abbey. I'm not trying to fight Venom when I got one character dead and 2 of them both got like 50 HP left and one of them injured and one of them got 2 weak status effects on it. I'm going off topic. But yeah, no, I don't believe anything feels unfair. Next question from Yandro. So I'm really excited about this game, but I don't think I can justify spending $70 up front since it's a lot more over here in Mexico. Do you think it'll be too long until the game sees a discount? Also, do you have any idea how much the DLCs will cost on their own? No to the DLCs. And I mean, Christmas is right around the corner, so I can imagine there definitely being a holiday discount at some point. Okay, so next question from Tano Games, another subscriber of mine that I recognize from the channel for a minute. Man, I was wondering where you been, bro. Glad to see you're back in the game. Who's your favorite squad? Do you see any advantages pairing with certain characters? So far, my main go-to squad right now with the Hunter, I would say is the Hunter, Iron Man, and Nico. But outside of the Hunter, it would be Iron Man, Nico, and Ghost Rider. With Captain Marvel occasionally swapped in for somebody because I do need a tank option, and I've actually come to like Captain Marvel a lot more. In terms of certain advantages, I would say yeah, most definitely. because I know one setup that I do have with my Hunter and Iron Man right now is specifically built to just double heroism. I lost my words there for a second. My setup with them is just to double my heroism cost. So like within one turn, I got like at least 8 heroism before I end. 8 heroism to spare. So yeah, there are definitely some advantages playing certain characters with others, but it's more so I can't really speak on some characters because I have not really tried everybody out to that extent. But there are that is a thing. That is a thing. Another question from Logan Dixon. I heard gloss is tough to get. Is there quick enough progression to keep things flowing with customizations? So gloss is actually not that hard to get. You get it from pretty much everything. You get it from missions, you get it from talking with people, you can get it from petting Charlie, you can get it from finding things out in the Abbey grounds. Gloss is not hard to get at all. In terms of like customizations, you can unlock various things like different different wearable items and colorways and more out in the Abbey and such. The progression is definitely quick enough, such, but that's also more so tied to you in terms of just like how willing you are to like really interact with everything outside of the combat. So another question from Logan. How tactical is the gameplay? I've seen gameplay, but does it feel tense turn by turn like XCOM? How is the Abbey? Does it feel fun? Is story a focus in the Abbey? Do you wade into the Abbey waters, or do you want to get back into the gameplay as quick as possible? Okay, so we gonna answer this piece by piece. How tactical is the gameplay? I've seen gameplay, but does it feel tense turn by turn? Yes. And if you can see in this Wanda fight, especially, yes, because Wanda was continuously taking control of my characters, and it's confusion. They take random actions every time. Like my own characters was getting attacked by magic. Like I just like it was because I had no idea how that match was gonna go and whether or not my Hunter was gonna die. So and there are like definitely some tense moments, and those tense moments will increase as you proceed to up the difficulty and face more difficult enemies. How is the Abbey? Does it feel fun? Story is everything in the Abbey. Story is everything. Main story, side story, hangouts, havens, clubs, all of it. I was not lying when I said that out of the 50 or so hours that I've played, at least 15 could be attributed to literally just messing around inside of the Abbey and the Abbey grounds. There's a reason why the gameplay loop ends up driving you back to the Abbey. So yeah, no, it's both sides of the coin are just as important. The combat is just as important as life in the Abbey. Next question from Khalifa. I'm pretty excited for the game, but I want to know, does the gameplay and friendship gets boring or repetitive after a whole? I would say no. And it's more so just because there are some different avenues that you can take with everybody. There are characters that can just end up outright not liking you, and that relationship will just not get any better over the course of the game. Like if you don't really do anything to kind of earn their favor a bit. And there's also how these characters interact with one another. So for example, Blade and Blade and Captain Marvel, some wrong choices could definitely affect, and at least so far from what I've seen, some choices with Blade and conversations can definitely affect, how he kind of speaks and talks about stuff for Captain Marvel, which may or may not end up well for him. It's a toss up, but no, I don't feel like it's repetitive, at least for right now. Next question from Ultra the Gunner. So is it possible to take only one character on a mission? Also, the premium outfits add animation changes to character attacks. So you can only take one. So the one character on a mission, that's only for the threat room, which is a research project that you get from Magic, which allows you to enter into an arena where you are fighting as many enemies as possible until you die. Right, kind of like a danger room, but that name's already taken, so it's a threat room. Magic herself specifically says that this is not the danger room. In Limbo, you're fighting for your life, not for fun. In the premium outfits, no, they do not add animation changes. Future Wicked just found your channel, loving your content, thank you, I appreciate that. Welcome aboard. Another question from Logan. You asking a lot of questions, my boy. How are the skins? Cool enough to want to switch up a lot, or do you have your favorite skin you stick with? I think so far, the current skin you see that I have on for Nico, and then the Bleeding Edge skin for Iron Man are, as of right now, also the symbiote skin for Spider-Man, are really the only skins that I've like had on constantly for these characters. But there are options to change outfits for your characters daily, both in combat and outside of combat. So one day Iron Man can be wearing the Bleeding Edge outfit, next day he can be wearing his iconic outfit. In the Abbey, he can be wearing his normal iconic outfit. The next day he can be wearing, you know, a pink shop club shirt with some jeans and some Vans. Just like it, I mean, yeah, there's options to like change stuff with that. So like if you don't want to manually switch it up a lot, you can just, you know, hit that selection and the game will do it for you. But yeah, nah, the skins in my opinion are definitely pretty cool. I think there's maybe one skin that I don't like so far. I can't tell you what it is, but yeah, every other skin so far I'm fine with. Which hero surprised me the most and why? I would say I feel like it's a toss-up. It's between Ghost Rider and Captain Marvel. Because one of my I was not expecting to have as much fun as I did with Captain Marvel. Like, she's not a she's a character that like you really have to build and ramp up with. Not Spider-Man. Ghost Rider. One of my main issues with him was just necessarily being worried about how much of a detriment he could be to his own team, possibly through the use of his abilities. But you play him right and you get used to everything it is that he can do. He's pretty fun. He's pretty good. He's a pretty strong character. So I would say it's a toss-up between those two for me. Next question from Dark Rider. So, did you get to try it in advance, and do you think we will get more than just the 4 DLC characters? Who do I believe will be the best team-ups? Yes, I did get to try everything in advance. You can clearly see that right now. Do I think we will get more than just the 4 DLC characters? I have no idea. I am not in the writing room with the developers. And who do I believe will be the best team-ups? I feel like whoever you want to put together on a team, right? There's enough characters on here to create some pretty wicked teams. So I can't answer that specifically right now, but I do believe that some characters like Ghost Rider and Wolverine will definitely be at the forefront of a lot of OP teams. Next up from Travis. Do you think there's any chance of seeing Daredevil, Punisher, Moon Knight, or Elsa Bloodstone as DLC? I have no idea. Next question from Bandai. No, I'm not answering this question because we already done went over this in the community post. Last question from Brendan Lyon. Can you change the character's hairstyles? You can change your character's hairstyle, but not anyone else's. With that final question from Brendan, all questions have been answered. Well, at the very least, all questions that I received. Could I do another one of these videos? Maybe, who knows? I feel like I more than likely got as many questions as I myself was going to get, because like a lot of people don't know about me or my channel, and that's okay. That's perfectly fine. Like I was only expecting like maybe 5 to 10 questions. I was not expecting this many. So thank you to everyone who decided to send in some questions. You guys were extremely curious. I hope I was able to shed some light on a few of these things. But with that being said, the video is coming to a close. An hour-long video. It's been a very long time since I've done one of these. Jesus. I hope you all have enjoyed your time here, as I've seen to have taken up an hour of your time. I didn't mean to. That was not the intention, but it just so happened that's how long this video ended up going. So again, I hope you've had a great time. If you did, let me know down in the comments below how you guys feel about everything, all of the gameplay, all of the cool stuff that you got to see here today. If whether or not you're excited to see some more things, if whether or not I answered your question, if I gave you a good answer, and also if you guys would like me to do another one of these like question videos with more things. Travis, no more questions about DLC characters, okay? No more questions about DLC characters. And Bangkok, stop asking me about MCU skins. I can't answer that, all right? I don't know nothing about that. I'm dragging on. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. And remember to hit that notifications bell so that you will never miss out on any of my future Midnight Suns related content, because we have a lot of good and fun things coming up very soon. And I will catch you all in the moonlight. Peace.
Trying to the bed, trying to live life. Pull it to the club with the bottles on ice. Need a back end by the end of the night. I'm an artiste and a social light. Trying to do a big, trying to live life. Pull it to the club with the bottles on ice. Need a back end by the end of the night. I'm an artiste and a social light.